Alright, my name is Abu Sunday. Welcome to lesson 4 on this Orion training series. I believe we have practiced all we have done so far for these 3 classes. Okay, we have learned how to generate your grids through orthogonal and then through offsetting of your grid, and then we have learned how you can insert your column, insert your beam, insert your slab. Okay, alright, I think that's what we have done so far, and then also insert stories and generate stories. So I believe we have practiced that. Please, if you have not done that, please go back and practice those trainings or those tutorials first before taking this class. Alright, so thank you very much. This is Orion, and then if you agree with me, this is where we stopped in our last class. Alright, so now we have insert story. If you can see, we have story 1, 2 and 3 here. Alright, so the next thing that we need to do is to see how we can run some analysis, okay, which is building analysis. Alright, now if you click on building analysis, okay, if you click on building analysis, we have what we call pre-analysis, and then we have model options, we have analysis, we have post analysis and model export, and then we have report. Okay, now under the pre-analysis, what you need to do is that you need to do some settings, arrange settings. Okay, we need to do some settings before we proceed to analysis. Okay, so now what we want to do is to actually check, okay, for example, now this concrete grade, this steel grade. All right, we need to make an adjustment and some settings to it. So from here you see that we have the unit concrete weight to be 25 kilonewton per meter cube, you understand, and then we have a unit weight of a block to be 4.5, and then the coefficient of thermal expansion is 0.005. all right, so if you do your normal structural detailing manually, you start to understand some of the standard values that we have here. Okay, all right, so now we go to edit materials. Now under the edit materials, we have a concrete grade. Okay, so concrete grade, we can decide to use 2025. okay, you can use 2025, so you select that. Now all those things now based on your own level of structural arrangement. I'm only trying to show you the particular tools that you're going to use, so it depends on your own understanding of structure, so you know where you want to select. If you want to select 2530, you can do that. Okay, but for this training I'm going to select 2025. all right, now I'll click on apply to all member type, right? So I'll click on it so that this selection will be applied to all the components, all the structural members. So I'll click OK from here. So you see that all the members now, they are carrying the concrete grade 2025, right? Then we have a steel grade. all right, the steel grade, we'll click on it. all right, and let's say I'll select 410. okay, I'll select 410. As I said, based on these designs, it's not saying that this is a standard. Okay, do your selection based on your designs and the structures that you are working on, right? So I'll select apply to all member type, and then I click OK. So we are having 410. Now the next one now is to go to the bar size. all right, now under the column, now you agree with me, this is if you have it, we have a story 1, story 2, and then story 3. okay, that is 2-story building, so we have it like 2 floor up apart from the ground floor, right? So I believe okay, we are going to design a column. Okay, so the reinforcement, because what we are going to do here is that, not that you are selecting a reinforcement details, that okay, you are using Y12 or you are using Y16 or you are using Y20. No, you are giving Orion the range of column of bar size you want it to select from. For example, now if you go, let's say you pick maybe Y14, and then we don't have Y14 in the market, right? So you discover that your and then Orion, based on his own calculation, he feel that the bar size 14 can actually do the work, and then he pick it, and then you don't have it in the market. That's why it is advisable you give it a range of what you want, the bar size you want it to select from. Okay, I believe you understand what I mean there. So I will click let's say I'll remove this 10, I'll remove this 13, I'll leave Y16, and I'll leave Y20. Okay, I think within these two is okay for us to run our column arrangement for this two-story building. Okay, so Y20, Y16, I think it's okay. Alright, you can actually carry the load. That is if you select any of these, possibly Y20 or Y16. Alright, so I will, okay, if that's select, make sure you check so that no any other ones is select. Okay, so it's only these two now, so I'll click OK. Then under wall, I explained wall from the beginning of this, whereby it's only when you have something like a shear wall, maybe you have a lift in your building, okay, or you require any kind of shear wall that you are designing, that's why I make use of this wall. Okay, so if you have such, you can actually click here and make your adjustment as well. Okay, in our beam, I'll click there and I'll remove Y10. I can leave I can still leave Y12. No, I will leave 16 and 20 still. Alright, I'll leave 16 and 20. Okay, all this is based on my own assessment of range, or based on experience and all that. So it depends on you. Okay, because what I'm teaching you here is to show you how you can use Orion to do structural drawing, not teaching you structural drawing, right? You have your basic knowledge of structural drawing already. Okay, so we have a slab. All right, so slab, I'll pick Y12. I can use only Y12, depend on the structures, depend. All right, so the size of your slab, possibly you can decide to use Y10 as well. Okay, but for me, I'll use Y12 only. Okay, so I'll use Y10. I'll click OK. Then rib slab, I'll use Y12 as well. Okay, I'll use Y12. Okay, and I click OK. Foundation, I'll use the Y16 and 20. 16 and 20. Alright, Y16 and 20. Alright, I've checked. Alright, link. Okay, that is steel rope. Okay, that is your steel rope, right? So I'll use Y10. Possibly I'll leave Y8 also. So I'll leave Y8 and Y10. Okay, so the Orion can decide which one to use from there. Alright, so and then we have our unit weight, and then we have our unit weight of concrete, unit weight of block, and the coefficient of thermal expansions. Alright, so after that I'll now click OK from here. Alright, so I've edited my my materials. Alright, so I'll go to model options. Model options is everything. We have the slab divide rigid diagrams. Okay, the mid-bit pairs, all those things. You can leave this the way it is. Okay, you actually need to select anything here. So you go to analysis. Okay, this is where we'll do our analysis. Now we are going to do analysis. Now we are going to do our analysis here. We can carry out what we call buildability check or building model check. So I'll click on this building model check. Alright, and then I click on start. Alright, so now you say model check completed, no number of errors 0. So now you actually check what you have modeled, if there is any errors. For example, look at what Orion have checked. We have checked for thin, long, small slab panels. We have checked for axis overlapping. We have checked for axis intersections. We have checked for slide non-orthogonal, axis intersections, overlapping of columns, overlapping of beams, overlapping of slabs, and the rest of them. We have checked so that if there is any error, he can detect it. So if the model check completed and number of errors, let's say is 1, then you have to check what is that error, then you have to fix it before you do your analysis. Alright, so after that, now we are doing building analysis, right? You see that it's cancelled here because we have not done any analysis. Building analysis cancelled. Alright, so we are going to do analysis for column and beam, right? So now you don't need to click on reselect steel bar because this is your first time. This is your first time of doing the analysis for this particular structure. It's only when you have done analysis before and then possibly maybe there are some errors and then you want to redo the analysis, then you now tell it to reselect the steel bar from the previous one that you have selected. Okay, show axis load comparison report. You can decide to show axis load comparison report here. Okay, now we have some of the applied load using undecomposed slab, which is the total is 1368, and then we have some of the decomposed some of the applied load after decompositions. Now some of the applied load after decompositions, the total now is 0, right? So if you run the analysis now, you see that okay, the value has to be not equals to, but at least let it be close to the total of this decomposition load. All right, you understand? That is on before decompositions, right? All right, so that is what we just check here. So I can close this. All right, and then I will now go to the analysis proper, right? So what you do now, that we are back to this particular page, then you click on start. So you see that the Orion is doing his calculations to bring out to analyze your structure and to see if your arrangement is okay and your material selection will work based on his own structural calculations. So we have to wait for it to calculate. Alright, so you can see building analysis completed successfully. Okay, so I'll click on OK here. Alright, so now we have now if you go back to axis load comparison report, you see that the sum of the applied load using undecomposed slab load is 1562. Okay, that is the total, and then the sum of the applied load after decomposition is 1562. Okay, so you know that okay, your structure is, your design and analysis is working at the right path. Okay, see, this is what I just showed you, 1562. Then under the that is under the life load. Under the dead load, we're having 7519. Okay, all right. So you can print this report because it can be part of your calculation sheet. You know, if you do a structural design, it's not like other design that you just print and keep. You have to do your calculation sheet. So this can be part of your calculation report as well. Okay, so you can decide to print it, you can decide to save it, you can decide to save it as PDF and all that. All right, so you see them, we have PDF, we have Excel, we have save, we have print direct and all that. So any of those methods you can use it. So I'll close here now. All right, now we have done with the analysis, right? So the next one is to actually confirm if our analysis is correct, if the building that we are designing can stand based on our selections and the materials, or based on the model that we have done. All right, so this is actually the critical part, in a sense that there's a situation whereby you can do your design finish every models and discover that the Orion will cancel it because it is not okay, like the structure will not stand, like the material provided cannot carry the structure, so we have to reselect and reanalyze and all that. Okay, so I'll click on post analysis. That is, after we did pre-analysis, we now do analysis, and then we are going to post analysis, right? That is the flow. So from here you can now confirm if your columns or your beams, all of them pass through the analysis that you have done. Okay, so this is the possible ways on how you can do your analysis. So in our next class we are going to check all this our analysis if it actually pass. Okay, all right, but as I said, we have done editing, that is through the pre-analysis. We have done analysis, okay, and then we have checked our ASI load comparison report and it's okay. So we go to post analysis and we are going to check if what we have done in analysis, like all the columns and beams, they pass. All right, so we can check that possibly in our next class. So thank you very much for watching, and make sure you do your assignment.